Evening, comrades, and thank you very much for having me. Thank you to Kev and everyone for the invite. It's great to be here in Bolton. I was in Newham and Manchester and elsewhere all in a night the other night, so it's amazing with technology where you can get to. So as Kev said, my name's Henry Fowler. I'm here to talk today about StrikeMap UK. StrikeMap UK was founded in December 2020 with my co-founder and a local son of your ends in Robert Paul, who's a very active trade unionist in the area. We started StrikeMap with some really clear aims, which was to document and present the levels of strike action, not from the employer, not the ONS figures, the figures that actually matter from those workers involved in struggle, to encourage others to take struggle and to see what is happening around the country. And most importantly, and all trade unions need to get better at this, is where we can post and send our solidarity greetings to those that are taking that strike action, which is, for me, most important. Having looked through the press releases of this union branch or that union branch or this union centre or that union centre, what becomes quite clear is actually there is a considerable amount of strike action happening. So although in the entirety of my lifetime, the amount of days lost strike action is very, very small and has been since 1979, and we don't need to go into the detail. People know why that is the case. But what's amazing about it is even in the month that we've been up and running, there is now over 27 strikes on that map. Now, as someone who's involved in the labour movement and spends his whole time and effort in the labour movement, I didn't know about those 27 strikes. I'd be interested to know how many of you on the call today know about them by looking at our map. So we think strike maps are a really important proposition for all of those reasons. Dating back to April, when Rob first came to me and said, what do you think about doing something around May Day during the height of the coronavirus, key workers that have kept this country going, how can we link those two things together? The great traditions of May Day, which seem to have been lost every year, with those efforts. And so we came up for Red for Key Workers, which some of you may have been involved in, which essentially was a really simple action where people took a photo wearing red on May Day and said their message and thanks to key workers, linking that long tradition within our movement of May Day with the fantastic effort of key workers. So this project really is an extension of Red for Key Workers, and I'd invite everyone on the call tonight and everyone who watches this to sign up to StrikeMap. It's free to do so, and to follow our channels on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube. As we're developing and we're listening to the movement all the time, and I'd be really delighted to hear what other comrades on this call have got to say about how we can develop StrikeMap better and make it a more useful resource for the labour movement. We've started to host worker writing in there, and the old traditions of ensuring that workers have a place to put their writing, to express themselves, for us to hear from them. And that why we've undertaken that strike story section of our site is we're not going to take a line like The Guardian or Independent. We're not interested in changing or amending the words of working people involved in struggle. We want to present exactly how people feel, and for people to be able to understand the sheer complexities of strike action, but how important it is and how personal it is and how it's linked to every single person involved in the labour movement. So our strike story section, please, once I'll put some links in the chat, but please do go and have a look at that and share those worker stories. It's very rare in the modern media. Even those that claim to be left or from a tradition of supporting worker writing, allow people to express themselves so freely. So we're really proud of strike stories and what that includes. And there's some fantastic first-hand accounts of the Stop the British Gas Fire from gas fitter Ash in Cheshire. We've got those that are taking action at Royal Berkshire Hospital, security guards striking for £12. We've got the UVW care workers who are taking strike action right now in relation to a whole host of demands that demand the dignity at work, essentially, for those that are caring for our most vulnerable in society. So we're really proud of that, and we hope we can build that. And if there are strikes happening in Bolton and around that area, it'd be really helpful to connect with some of those workers and get their writing up on our site and share it as much as we can to try and give a voice to working people. What you'll find is that these strikes aren't on BBC News. They're not on ITV News or Channel 5 or any other news channels that are available. And so it's really important that we give people that coverage. People may also have seen our latest development, which is experimental. There are so many fantastic video meetings to go to, so many fantastic, much more exciting people than me and Rob on Zoom screens for you all to listen to. But we've launched a show called Comrades. You'll see in my background there a small snippet of our logo of that. And what the point of Comrades is that we bring together people that are involved in this strike action, involved in organising and the work that's happening in our labour movement. And again, we give a platform so that people can learn and hear about some of the fantastic work. Our first show was last Saturday when we broadcast it. And we were very privileged to have those UVW strikers. So go and have a look on our YouTube channel if you just want to watch that interview. We were absolutely delighted and quite shocked that the fantastic support we've received from Steve Turner, AGS of Unite. He spoke about the battle for Barnard's. What an important dispute that's been. Really kick off our year and show the power and the victory of workers. Absolutely fantastic. So there's a great interview with Steve as part of that. And we started off the show on a bit more friendlier home turf for me, which is with some fantastic educators that have been organising during this crisis. And obviously all key workers have kept this country going, and certainly they all deserve our credit. But it's been fantastic to hear about how educators, tens of thousands of members, thousands of new workplace reps, hundreds of thousands on Zoom meetings. It's quite incredible. And so their interviews on there as well. Our next meeting of that is happening Sunday at 11 o'clock. And this week's episode, or it's about every 2 weeks, will include the G&B strikers, two colleagues from the West Midlands. Comrades have been on strike for over 12 days now in that dispute, an important dispute around fire and rehire that we must outlaw as soon as possible. But if the government and the Westminster and the politicians won't do it, we'll do it through our collective action as workers, and that's the right approach. We're also going to have, which I think will be quite interesting, I don't know how much colleagues know about them, I knew nothing about them, but the Nanny Solidarity Network, who work in connection with the IWGB, but provide a place for nannies, au pairs and others to organise. So a lot of these people are either undocumented or in difficult positions to organise, not in the usual traditions of trade unions in terms of how they can connect together. So they're going to be talking to us about the work in building a trade union branch to represent and engage and to mobilise those members, which again I think will be fascinating. Personally, from myself, I'm very much interested, as I'm sure we all have been, invigorated by the incredible strikes around Deliveroo and Uber Eats and other precarious workers. So they really are an inspiration, I think, have shaken us all from some of our, at times, can be quite dull tactics in how we approach disputes and struggles. So that will be our show at 11 o'clock on Sunday, and you're all welcome. I really hope you'll be there to watch it, and if not, you'll catch it afterwards. But as we develop Strike Map, we want Strike Map to be part of the rank and file, embedded within how trade unions work. So when, I used to be a workplace rep and then a branch secretary, that you have your checklist of things you want to do, your membership check to ensure that everyone's at the right place for that postal ballot, to ensure that you've ticked all the boxes that the bureaucracy of your trade unions asked you to do, it's gone through all the pro formas, but then that you add it to Strike Map. And that's really important to me. This map, it will only succeed, it will only survive if those people will put their action on it. It's not at all for staff of trades unions or other people to add it to. The idea is that members and rank and file stewards and reps take that and use it, and they use it proudly to link up with those reps. It might be a bit ambitious at this stage, but certainly we should always look to the future in development. If it's okay, Kev, I'll end on this point. I've been speaking a while, and I appreciate you've got some fantastic speakers, much better than me afterwards, is that we hope that maybe in the future we can get together all of these reps taking strike action or have taken strike action during this incredibly difficult period to take strike action, and we start to rebuild the idea around, there is an organisation already called it the National Shop Stewards Network that does fantastic work and we support and collaborate with them, but we start to build a completely broad-based rank and file shop stewards network which has everyone who's been taking that strike action or working towards those struggles together to try and propel the working class into a better footing. You started, Kev, by saying about the use of the map, and I think we're moving into a period of conflict. We're seeing employers crush terms and conditions in the race to be able to balance the budget. We know, don't we, from this crisis that capitalism is an absolute luxury in a time of crisis like this, and the bosses will be looking to balance that on the backs of working people. We hope Strike Map can be a clarion call for victories, for organising, and we can reinvigorate the trade union movement. Because I tell you what, we have never been in a better position, and I'm incredibly excited about this year, and we have a world to win, comrades. So thank you very much for having me, and happy to take any questions. Thank you, Kev.